Okay, hello everybody. This is Austin Greathouse. We're going to go ahead and get started. I am doing this presentation on using Facebook ads and going over how Callie has used Facebook ads in the past few weeks to increase our fans of our Facebook page. Again, I'm Austin Greathouse, Callie's marketing guy. I'll be your presenter today. A little bit about the webinars. We produce them here at Callie. You can find us at callie.org. We do these on Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern. They're a free service to all of our Callie member schools, anyone who attends there or works there. So feel free to invite your friends next time. And we'd love to have feedback and suggestions for topics or guest presenters. Any topics involving legal, education, and technology, we'd be happy to present. Just give me an email. Now, about keeping up with the webinars, you can find us at our blog, our Twitter feed, Callie Law School, and our Facebook page. I usually put announcements to upcoming webinars on there pretty regularly. Also, this will be recorded, so be mindful of that. We post all of these, and you can find past webinars at this episode archive link on our Blip TV page, which is callievideos.blip.tv. Upcoming webinars, I wanted to point you towards October 23rd webinar with Tanya Oaks-Smith. She's the communications coordinator at the University of Arkansas Law School, Bowen School of Law, and she did a Twitter presentation a few weeks back. It was pretty well received, and that was just the basics. So you can check that out on our callievideos.blip.tv page. But we're going to go over a little bit more advanced, some of the tools that someone might use to keep up with their Twitter feed and things like that. So make sure you check that out on the 23rd. Next, questions or comments, you can just raise your hand virtually. And there's also a question function which I'll be tracking. And if you raise your hand, I will unmute you, and you can ask me the question. And just for a little practice on raising your hand, see if you can find that little icon there. I was wanting to know if you maintain your school's Facebook page. Could you raise your hand? Okay, I see a few of you. All right. Now, first off, let's get this presentation started. A little bit of disclaimers. It seems like there are a lot of people going around calling themselves social media experts. This is from a website who was actually selling these business cards, which I think are kind of tongue-in-cheek. And here's just a bunch of people calling themselves social media mavens, gurus, things like that. So I just want to let you know that I'm not a social media expert or anything like that, and I don't want to make you think that I am. We've only used these ads for a few months, and what I am going to try to do is give you sort of a common sense approach to using Facebook ads on a budget, and I'll walk you through the interface. And this presentation is going to be aimed at people who have or will create a Facebook page, and that's a page as opposed to a profile. And I'm assuming that you know how to create your own Facebook page, or you have some familiarity with it, or that you will eventually. And if you want to increase your Facebook fans. And I also wanted to add that you can actually use these ads to promote things other than your Facebook page, outside links and things like that. But I've only used them for increasing fans because I thought that made sense, because there's a built-in link there that allows people to just click a button and add a Facebook fan. So, a little background on our use of these things so far. Our main problem was, as you can see, a pretty flat line. And at this point, we'd had a Facebook page for, I don't know, about a year or so, and it seems like we'd hit a real stagnant area, time and growth of fans. You can see on April 1st we had 385 fans, and then even from June 25th to July 14th, which is July 14th is the day we started Facebook ads, no growth whatsoever. So Another problem was most of these fans were insiders to Cali, law librarians, IT folks, people who attended the conference, which the conference was right here, so you can see that took a little bump. So, in other words, no students. We weren't seeing a lot of students sign up, and obviously students like Cali should like Cali lessons. We couldn't really figure out where they were at. So we decided to take out some Facebook ads, and of course our goal was to run up our fan count as fast as possible, right? No, that's not the case, of course. What we wanted to do was to target law students already on Facebook who either like us, know about us, and love us, or people who are likely to like us. So we wanted to target that and not just simply run up our fan count as quickly as possible. So why target as opposed to just, try to get everyone to be your fan? Targeted fans, they're less likely to ignore you or, worst of all, to unsubscribe. In other words, if you pay to get a fan and they unsubscribe, that's basically a waste of money. So a targeted fan is more likely to be connected to friends who are interested in Cali and create a social networking effect, which I'll show you a little bit later in the presentation. And, of course, fans that are targeted are more likely to pass the word on to friends about your website or about your product or service. And additionally, we wanted to target because you can customize the message really specifically using these ads. And that makes it easier to get people's attention who see the ad. So why pay for Facebook fans? A lot of people might say you should just grow this organically and naturally see your Facebook page expand. But as you pay for fans, obviously you want to have fans because you can control the message. These are people who see your message and who actively want to see it if they have fanned you. It increases the likelihood of passing along that message to other people. You can interact with fans, obviously, through your Facebook page and your wall and things like that. Again, the social networking effect of it all, and it's probably faster using Facebook ads if they're successful than growing the fan base naturally. So if you want to see a bump in fans, you can do that. Of course, that depends on your Facebook page content. Some people might have really buzzworthy content that people are attracted to by nature that gets around the internet very quickly. But it depends on the content of your Facebook page. We found that the ads work a lot quicker than naturally growing the Facebook page fans. So this is what we did. We opened a Facebook ad account, and that takes a credit card to which they suck out money from whenever they need to. We put a budget on it of just $5 a day. We're a nonprofit organization. We don't have a lot of money to throw around on these things, and we were just kind of experimenting. We created a number of narrowly targeted ads, basically all at law students, so we limited the age. We didn't want people who were older than, outside of the law school, generally what a traditional law student would be. We promoted Cali lessons in these ads, and I did some experimenting with the pictures and the text and the keywords and the major, because you can actually, in Facebook ads, and you'll see this, you can pick whether they're in a school and what their major is. So I did some experimenting with that, basically, and it's tough to find law school students exactly because there's not something you can click that says, only target law school students with this, or only target graduate students, because there is something for people who graduated. There's a category for people who've graduated high school, and there's a category of people who've graduated college, but not necessarily graduate students. So, and then we monitored the results and stopped ads, paused ads that weren't working well, and we tried to stick with these variables, these pictures and text that seemed to work better than others, and messages that people were clicking and following. So, and as you can see, right on July the 14th, again, we hadn't seen an increase since earlier in June. All of a sudden, it really took off, and I was skeptical about these to start out with, but it worked pretty well for us. And as you see, in a month, we gained, almost 50% increase in fans. So we were real happy with that. So now let me walk you through the interface of a Facebook ad, how to set it up and things like that. And again, I'm going to assume you already have a Facebook page set up for your school or for your product or service or whatever. If you look down here in the left-hand corner, there's the Applications tab, or there's just, also for me at least, there's a link that says Ads and Pages. If you click that, as it loads, you'll see a list of all the ads. As you can see, I put up a bunch of ads, just kind of threw a lot up there. Paused the ones that didn't work too well. It has the ad name, whether it's active or not, how much you're bidding on a click, and I only use cost per click as opposed to cost per impression, because that way you're actually paying for people who click, of course, and the number of clicks, how many times they've seen it, click-through rate, and really low click-through rates with these for the most part. And that's another reason you want to do pay-per-click. These are pretty low click-through rates, at least from what I've experienced, and how much you're paying on average for those clicks. And that's just that's the campaign that we had set up. Down here are the totals, and as you can see, we haven't spent more than $300 so far. And I think our Facebook page is all the way up to over 830 people now, when we started out at 450. So pretty good increase there for relatively not a lot of money. Another screen. So from there, you can also see, if you click the Campaigns button, you get, again, those totals. And you can set up separate campaigns, although I only keep one campaign because we can't spend more than $5 a day. We just don't have the budget for it. And if I had more campaigns, there would be more campaigns on here. There's the current campaign we're running, and this doesn't show up for me for some reason, but usually there's a graph down here that shows the clicks you've received on your total ads for that campaign each day. But again, that's not showing up for me, and I don't know why it doesn't anymore. So let me show you how these ads work. This is setting up a new ad. You can also do that by clicking Create a New Ad on the first page we saw, but we'll assume you did that. So you can copy existing ads up here. If you want to kind of tweak ads as you go along, I suggest you copy the ad and not change the ad itself, because that way it keeps a record of the old ad, and you can go back and look and see what you changed, as opposed to when you create a new one, or when you just change what you had, you can't really tell what has been changed. There's no record of what you had in the past, so you don't really know what worked and what had changed from that time. So you just choose what you want to advertise, and of course we want to advertise our Facebook page. So you click that, and the title is set in there. And this is just you can make this whatever you want, but they took this from our page itself. This is where you change the image, of course, and that's already up there now because, again, it sucked it from our page profile picture. And this is what the ad looks like, of course. So you can preview it as you go along. And there's that Become a Fan link that I like so much, and why I wanted to target this at increasing our fan base as opposed to increasing, clicks towards Cali.org or something like that. Now, all this targeting, this is what I was talking about, how you can target very narrowly with these. You have location here, age, of course, target people on their birthdays even. So all this information people are putting into Facebook, it can actually gear your ad towards that, which was what helps make these powerful. You can choose a keyword. There's law school, law, and there's a pull-down menu right here as you type, autofill. So that's nice. You can have multiple keywords, and sometimes this pops up if you to narrow it down a little bit more. Education, again, college, your ad in college, in high school. You can even narrow it down to where a person works, whether they're single, all of these things. So you just have to really experiment with that, and as you do it, see how this estimate changes when you click something. It should pop up to say about how many people fit those demographics that you're choosing. So by clicking only men, from 200,000 to 34,000. So basically we played with that a lot and kind of tried to come up with a formula that targeted the right people for us at the time. And here is the bidding in a cost per click situation. You say what you might want to up to what you want to pay for a click from a user. There's also a pay per impression, but I wouldn't really mess with that too much because the cost or the click-through rates are so low in this. So I think that kind of shows you a little bit how to set up an ad. And so I'll go on to the next. If there are any questions, go ahead and raise your hand or let me know. So in conclusions, why we like Facebook ads, of course, as I've said, the targeting is great. You can really narrow it down based on the info that the users supply to Facebook. And I see that Mark has a question, so let me unmute you, Mark, and just go ahead and speak.
Hey, Austin, how are you?
Hey, good.
I'm new to this sort of ads on Facebook. Who gets this money? This is going directly to Facebook?
Yes. I would assume that Facebook this is their revenue generation model, right? Because everybody's wondering how social networking sites are going to make money. It's free; everybody can just use it. So I assume that this is how they see themselves being a profitable company. So does that answer the question?
Yeah, it was a little confusing as to whether somehow this person who's clicking on it was getting money, but that was just something that didn't seem to make much sense to me, but I understand what you're talking about now.
No, yeah, Facebook allows you to do it, basically, and that's how they're making money off that.
Okay,
all right.
Great, thanks.
No problem. So again, the targeting, we really like that because it takes advantage of all the information that people are giving out in their Facebook profiles. Cost control, again, we're spending less than $5 a day, and what comes out to a really, really reasonable price. And like I said, if you do a cost per click, if it doesn't work, you're not going to pay for it. So as long as it works, you'll pay a little bit, but even if it does work, it's not that much. And there's the ability to set your daily budget. And here's the social networking effect that I've been talking about. The fact is that a lot of this comes from outside of the ads themselves, right? So let's say this person sees a Cali ad right here in the middle, clicks on it and decides they want to be a fan of Callie. So these are his friends here, these other red dots. They see that. They see that they've chosen Callie, or that this person has chosen Callie as a friend, right? So that just keeps going on and on as people decide to fan our page. And that's stuff that you don't pay for. Those are fans that you're not actually paying for, besides the first person who saw it. Again, that's that social networking effect. And I think that's where a lot of this is attributable to. People, like I said, there weren't a lot of students who were fans of Callie at the time, so we had students clicking on that and saying, I want to fan Callie. Their friend would see it, and they'd fan Callie, and so on. So that's really the power of Facebook and social networking. And because they work, that's another reason we like them. They've been pretty successful from our standpoint in increasing fans. What we don't like, again, the click-through rates are pretty abysmal. So it can be slow if you're relying on click-through rates. If you don't have as much of a budget as we do, it's fine that we can only do $5 a day anyway. But say you just want to, if your goal was to increase fans as fast as possible, you would have problems with that probably because the click-through rates seem to be so low. You wouldn't be able to garner a lot of friends really quickly. Also, these you could spend a lot of time trying to perfect these, experimenting with these. Lucky for me, at least, that these have worked, and I haven't had to spend too much time on adjusting the ads and experimenting with them because, again, that $5 budget, as long as we're meeting that, then there's really nothing else for me to do because it's already hitting our limit anyway. But if at some point we're not hitting that and my goal is to continue increasing fans, and I would have to, look at increasing our click-through rates, things like that, adjusting the different variables there, which could take a long time, a lot of experimenting, a lot of measuring, things like that. Another problem was our click-throughs and our fans kind of increases kind of leveled off after a few weeks, and I'll show you that in a minute. And honestly, I don't really understand a bidding strategy. That's just probably for lack of time from me to looking up. And again, these are working, so we're meeting the $5 budget, so I haven't really worried too much about a bidding strategy. If anybody has any suggestions for reading on that, you can let me know. But I just haven't really taken the time to figure that out too closely. And it does give you estimates for what you should bid. I go by that pretty closely. So some tips. Again, target. Keep targeting people that you want, but don't be too narrow, because I've tried to target individual schools such as Chicago Kent or schools that use Callie. Just aim it at them, and the click-through rates are just so low that it really hasn't had an effect at all, because there's just not enough people on Facebook. There's, who knows, 400, 300 people in a school, and the click-through rates are so low, so they're not going to see it very much. Always use an image. That's obvious. Take a look at your click-through rates, see which ones are working the best, and pause the ones that aren't. Again, make a bunch of ads and experiment with it, and experiment with the variables, see if they work, see what works for you. And I just wanted to give you guys an update on what we've done since that first initial push. The campaign for people from under 30 started to level off right about here. So we weren't meeting the budget at that point, and I started aiming at people over 30, possibly graduates, people like that, alumni of schools who might be interested in keeping up with Callie. And that was right there, and again, that took off. So that was for people over 30. probably getting some non-traditional students there, probably getting some alumni. But that seemed to do pretty well, and we're once again meeting our budget, and that's going up, and we're up to, well, it's over 830 as of today. So again, pretty good success with that push as well. So that brings us to the end. For me, at least, the presentation part. If you have any questions, go ahead and raise your hand or shoot that in a question. I'll give you some time to think if there's anything you want to ask. And if not, of course, you can always email me. My email address is agroothus@cali.org. Just let me know your questions, feedback, and okay, hopefully we'll see you next time then. Again, keep up with our announcements on our blog, Twitter page, and Facebook page, and check out our upcoming webinar on October 23rd about more Twitter. So thank you all for coming, and I'll see you next time.